Welcome on in. Welcome to Reading Between the Wines. It's Wine Down Wednesday, Wine Wednesday. Come on in, grab your drinks, grab your bottle, do whatever you need to do to feel comfortable, rewinding down. I love reading between the wines because it's a time where I can continue to do what I do, what I know how to do, but we have a little bit of fun with it. We got some wine, some good friends that come through, and you never know what's going to happen. So please like, comment, share, tag, subscribe, do whatever you need to do. Anything that you do, I greatly appreciate it. If you're out there on Facebook, I want to say thank you so much. I saw a couple people popping in and out on Instagram, Twitter. Thank you so much for their love. YouTube, you can check out that experience at Laren Gaines. TikTok and Daily Motion, you can get small clips of the show. And of course, very special thank you to D Live and Twitch people out there. Thank you so much for supporting. Now we're going to get right on into this show here that we got tonight, but I'm going to let you know what I'm sipping on tonight. Funny story behind this wine. It's Prosecco, sparkling wine, Menage a Trois Prosecco. So for those of you out there, this is a funny name, right? Menage a Trois Prosecco. I don't know if any of y'all have been in one of these, but how many people who have been in a sort of a love triangle and didn't even know? Some people, they get involved and, they know what's going on and they down to get along with to get along. But how many of you out there, when you hear this word, you be like, or you turn your nose up, or you sort of close your ears off because you don't want to hear it? Well, it could be the case that you were in a menage a trois before and didn't even really know it. So, menage a trois Prosecco. What's going on, Dr. Stephen Bone? Just a little funny joke behind this. So, menage a trois Prosecco. This fun-loving, sparkling, and fabulously fresh and flirty with alluring floral aromas and crisp citrus flavor. So it definitely does the trick. You get your little bubbles, feel a little special with your bubbles. 11% alcohol volume definitely does the trick. So we'll see how well we get through this bottle here tonight when reading between the ones. So come on, wine on with me, and let's get into Diamonds and Pearls. Prince and the New Power Generation, released in 1991. So when it comes to Diamonds and Pearls, I saw something on TikTok today that was interesting. Now, don't kill the messenger because this is just something that I just saw. It said, watch, be very careful because maybe there's nothing that you can do to give that person what they want. And the examples that they gave were women, God gave them eyebrows, and what do? They shave them off and they draw their own eyebrows in. He gives them hair, they shave it off and they put a different type of hair on. And then most recently, he's given them their perfect body, and some people are not happy with their body, so they go and get all these big butts and breast implants and all this other stuff. So then they said, so the men out there, when you come in contact with some of these women, if they are not happy with what God gives them, what makes you think you're going to be able to make an impact as man when God is over man? So interesting. And when you think about the lyrics of Diamonds and Pearls, sometimes the only thing that I can just offer you is my love, and that's it. I can't give you the world, and so it just had me thinking a little bit. Very special shout out to the fans out there who like Prince. Young, I see you out there. G-Ster, I see you out there. Thank you for supporting, and rest in peace, Prince. Definitely one of the amazing, talented artists that will never, ever be able to be touched, just like Michael Jackson and so many others out there. So I'm going to give a very special thank you to everybody out there who supports and checks out Reading Between the Wines and the 4-1 podcast. I definitely, truly do appreciate you. Miss Makita Staples, she came on last night and she talked about her children's books that she has. She has 6 books, so please go ahead and check those books out. She is speaking about some real life situations and things that will probably help you and your child bond, number one, and give them, a little more confidence that they would need before going into a school environment. So I definitely think y'all should go ahead and check out Marquita Staples. She was on, and Curly Crew. That's what the title of her books are, Curly Crew. And y'all can go ahead and check that out at Curly Crew. I believe it's .org, but don't quote me on that. But it's the Curly Crew. Mr. Jason T. Davis, all the way from California. I want to say what's up. And then I saw G-Ster out there. Thank you for joining. Onyx Blade, I appreciate you. We have Complex Angel all the way from Philly. Will Serve, I appreciate you. Dr. Sharita Madas, all the way from India. Thank you for your continuous support. Author P.L. Stewart. Check out the replay for both of those. They were on Reading Between the Wines, so you can go back a couple weeks and you can hear the replay from Sharita Madas and author P.L. Stewart. Ro Wang, all the way from South Korea. Tate Ellington. And then, of course, my friend Danny, my Survivor Voice podcast. She has been supporting me for over a year, and I think y'all really should check out this awesome podcast, especially for people who want to listen to real life situations and understand people's stories and how they survive through some drama, through some pain, through some heartbreak, and come out on the other side. Check out my Survivor Voice podcast anywhere that you listen to your podcast. Now I'm going to go ahead and take a drink here because that was a lot. We ain't even really get started yet. All right. So, as we rewind this thing, what was the last thing that someone has done to you or said that has shocked the hell out of you? Think about it. I mean, I have been shocked a lot of times, but the last situation I can't even speak about because that's how personal it is. And I don't want to put anything out there, but it lets me know that people, for me, that shocked the hell out of me, is it lets me know that people truly have their own, some people truly have their own hidden agendas. And it taught me that I need to really be very careful with who I get mixed up with. Like I said, 2022 has been an interesting year. At the top of the year, certain things happen, and I was shocked. I was really shocked. And I continued to go on, and I didn't pay attention to the lessons that I learned in the beginning of the year. And it's like the next person and the next person and the next person. I could count maybe about 4 or 5 people that have done some things that have shocked the hell out of me in 2022. I've lost some friends. I lost so-called lovers, whatever the situation might be. People have really shocked the hell out of me. And someone like me who was always, just so nice to people, so nice until you piss me off. That's one thing. So it's not like I'm just this nice person all around, and that's why. But somebody who's just so nice, really, for those of you people out there that are nice, maybe you need to stop being so damn nice. My girl, Mary J. Blige, posted something on her page a couple of days ago that says, we are no longer being nice to mean people. So maybe that's just a little lesson and a little reminder that some people, some folks out there, you need to take care of yourself sometimes and stop trying to be so nice to people, because when they do that 180 on you, which they do, and they so damn good at it, flipping at the drop of a dime, I'll be somewhere feeling a certain way like, oh, okay. So I can't really get into the details as far as what is the last thing that someone has done that shocked the hell out of me, but trust and believe I was thrown back earlier this year. I really was. So for those of you out there, think about the rhetorical question as far as what's the thing out there, what they said, whatever their circumstances might be. Who knows? Only you know. But then at the end of the day, the most important thing is action versus reaction. So there's 2 ways we can go about this. Your actions can control a situation, or you can react to a certain thing. So what I used to do is I used to react all the time to whatever would come down my path. And most of the time that reaction was very I love to say incorrect. Some people laugh sometimes when I say that, but my reaction was very, incorrect. Now I would like to say that my actions today are on point, because That's just it. I act a certain way. I don't act out. I act in confidence, and I know exactly what I'd like the outcome to be. And I actually come across, people just this week who showed their ass basically, and they were on the wrong, and they were coming incorrect. But then my actions behind it, and you can say my reaction too, behind people, cutting up a little bit, was just as calm, cool, and pleasant as what we speak about here when we go through these conversations. People can act any type of way that they want to act. They can do any type of thing that they want to do. But just remember that all of those things that they are projecting and putting towards you or moving towards you, that's all outside of you. That has nothing to do with you. Whatever somebody else's actions, whatever somebody else is putting out there and projecting towards you, you just got to learn how to block it with all of that good, positive energy and vibes that you have. And once you do that, you'll be able to control the situation because they actually lose power because what they want is for you to turn around and flip out, act crazy, curse them out, do backflips and show all of your ugly. And then they actually won because then they can have a reason to say, oh, this person did this to me. He said this, she did that. They acted this way. They did this, they did that. It's all about that power. This is all about energy and it's all about power. So action versus reaction. Whenever somebody does something to you, says something to you, put you in a situation where you may not be feeling it, just think about how you're going to act towards it and think about your facial expressions, think about your movement, your body, just everything. How are you going to react when things come down the pike? And it may not necessarily work in your favor at the moment. Just remember, you can't change people, but you can change yourself. And when you change yourself, that will change your whole circumstance around you. Whether they can hang with you or not, they're going to end up fleeing and they're going to end up moving if they know that this is not the situation for me. He's this, she's that. There's just too much going on here. Most of the time, some people will just start to move away from you and it's all good. End the story, done. Now we don't got to go off. Now we don't got to feel a certain way because they basically removed themselves from it by you changing who you are. I have very special guests tonight. We have author Lisa Thomas coming in, and we're going to check her out and see exactly where she's calling from tonight.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome to Reading Between the Wines.
Thank you for having me.
So I am sipping on some Prosecco tonight. What are you drinking tonight, if anything?
Oh well, it's actually just past 1 a.m., so I'm just drinking water at the moment. Otherwise, I won't actually go to sleep tonight.
It's 1 a.m. So where are you calling from tonight?
I'm from Birmingham in the UK.
Okay. Shout out to the UK. Thank you so much for coming on. I think you are
Thank you.
about the second person from the UK. There's Sophie Davis, who has been on plenty of times, and she's from the UK. So,
Oh, lovely.
welcome in. So, what is the weather like right about now?
Oh, it's chillier than it usually is at this time of year. Today it's been quite nice actually, but we have had a couple of quite windy and overcast days. It does tend to sort of get a bit more overcasted towards September anyway, so it's not too bad. I can't complain. It's not as wet as usual.
So it's officially September now because you're ahead of time.
Yeah.
It's still August here.
It's like I'm from the future.
Yeah. How's the future? How's my September gonna be? September 1st gonna be? Is it looking bright?
It's fantastic. We have flying cars and everything.
What's going on, Bethany? How are you doing? So, yeah, I'm drinking prosecco right now, and it's from Italy. And I want to. We were talking about the weather, but you do weather different over there. Like if I say that it's like 60 degrees here Fahrenheit, I think you do Celsius, right?
Yes, we do Celsius, and I've got no idea what Fahrenheit is.
I
So
know.
people tell me that their temperature, and I've got absolutely no idea whether it's warm or cold.
When I was in France earlier this year, I felt the same exact way. Um, it's interesting. And then the same thing with miles, right? Like you don't do miles, you do kilometers.
Oh no, I do
Oh, you
miles.
do miles there? Okay.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
does everyone speak English there? Like if I go there, I wouldn't need to learn a different type of language, right?
No, you can speak English all over the UK, but there are different accents, and some of them quite can be quite thick, so it's quite difficult to understand what people are saying, because obviously people use slang words and stuff, so
Mm-hmm.
it can be quite tricky depending on where you go.
Well, I do know that I will probably be fine. So it's good to visit the UK by myself because I can speak English. You understand what I'm saying. But if you go to France, this is my first time out of the country. If you don't know anything about that language, you will have a major problem because they'll look at you.
Yeah, I
You've been there before.
yeah. Well, I took the my children to Disneyland there,
Uh,
and we travelled through the Eurotunnel. So we drove there, got on the Eurotunnel, and then drove the other side. So we did a couple of stops leading up to sort of the Disneyland park.
mhm.
And yeah, we had the same problem just trying to communicate with people.
And someone said, "Oh, don't worry. Once you get to the airport, it's gonna be so fine. If you're inside the airport, they'll be able to speak English, and everything will be fine." That definitely was not the case, and even the things that were written on the boards and stuff still was in French. It was not very user friendly at all. So hopefully the experience elsewhere will be a little bit easier. I'm so thankful I had somebody who can translate for me because if not, I would have been definitely up. You've heard the term up Shit's Creek without a paddle?
Yeah.
Okay, that definitely was. What's going on? Speaking of France, Moraz Beats. Thank you for joining. He's joining all the way from France. Just speaking about how when Americans come to France, it's hard to communicate because it really is like not a lot of people speak English there. So, all right. So we have author Lisa. I got it right. Your name is Lisa Thomas, right? I've been
That's right, yeah.
sipping a little bit. I want to make sure I'm not calling you a different author. Lisa Lisa Thomas, all the way from the UK. So
Yeah,
you have your first book out, Unprecedented Times. So
yeah.
unprecedented times, and this is going to be the first of a trilogy.
That's right,
So
yes.
can you explain to us a little bit what this book is about?
So it uses the COVID-19 pandemic as a backdrop. So it does include some sort of facts, and it follows the progression of the virus in real life. But in this story, the virus sort of goes in a different direction. The book itself is a sci-fi dystopian book, um, and it is across two different timelines and through the perspective of four different characters. And it sort of looks at what it'd be like if we couldn't control the virus, and explores the idea of how far would we be willing to go to survive, basically.
Hmm. So you have four characters in there. Where does this take place at? Is it in the UK? Is it a different part of the world?
Well, the different characters are located in different areas. So
Mm,
we've got the two of the main characters are twins. One of the twins lives in Birmingham in the UK, same as I do.
hmm.
The other twin lives in Switzerland because she works for the WHO. And then the other characters also live in Birmingham and Switzerland, respectively. But there is a part of the story where you don't quite know where it is they're living.
Hmm. Switzerland. That's interesting.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's go through some of the characters.
Okay, so the two main characters, which were actually going to be the only two main characters, are Clara and Rosa. And Clara is very quiet. She's very academic, so she is interested in learning and studying, and she wanted to be a scientist. So she's studying, saving to study her master's degree, and she's currently working at the WHO as a secretary to the Director General. And then her sister Rosa is a nurse working for the NHS, and she lives in Birmingham with her fiance Ben, who's a police officer, and he's the third main character. And then the fourth main character is Dr. Vicente, who is the Director General of the WHO, and he's Clara's boss. So we follow the progression of the story through the different characters' eyes, because different characters bring different things to the story. Some provide more information, whereas others give us a good idea as to what it was like to live through the pandemic.
What made you want to write this book in this direction?
Well, I had the story idea when the virus first broke out in China, but before it had spread anywhere else. And it was at the time where everyone was saying, "Oh, it's just like the mad cow's disease. No one needs to worry about it. It's not going to come over here." And obviously, I had this idea that actually, if it did spread and it was dangerous, it could potentially grind the world to a halt. And then I had this story idea, started writing it up, and it just so happened that up to a certain point in my story, reality actually followed that same path.
Now, you may not answer this or not, but are there parts and elements of you inside of these characters in this book?
Oh, absolutely. Each one of the characters has got a different sort of side to my personality. And I think that's helped me to develop them into the main characters. Like I said, only two of them were going to be characters. The two became main characters simply because they assumed a sort of a life of their own. And I think a part of that was because I put a bit of myself into each of them.
Now, during this whole process, when you're writing this book, this is like real life, unfolding right in front of you. Did you start right away once it, hit it around March, or when did you start writing it in 2020?
Well, I started planning it in December.
Oh,
and then I had
wait.
Yeah, so it was literally as soon as it came out, I had the idea and sort of started planning it in my mind. And then I started sort of writing the plans towards the end of January, because I had my little boy in January, so that kind of distracted me for a while. And then towards the end of January was when I started properly writing the plans. They were then finished by the start of March, so I started writing the actual story at the start of March.
Okay, so take me down the timeline again. So March is here, you start writing. When was the book actually finished and ready to go?
It was finished in November last year, and I have had it on sale, and because I've been trying to fundraise through book sales, so I have put it up for sale, but then I've had a little bit of feedback to say that it could do with another edit, so I've currently pulled it to do another edit, so it should be available in another couple of weeks. But it was released November, so it took from March to November to write and proofread and go through.
And you mean November of last year?
Yeah.
Okay, that's about accurate. What's the feedback been?
So far, the feedback has been excellent. The only negative thing was with regards to they could tell that I hadn't had it thoroughly edited, because I haven't had a lot of money to invest in the book. So I've literally just had help here and there and tried to assume as much of it as I can. So that's been the only negative feedback. But other than that, people are saying that it should be put down as a masterpiece of our time. People really enjoy the fact that it sort of will give future generations an idea as to what it was like to live through this pandemic. A lot of people have said that it would make a very good either TV show or movie series. They said that they would like to see it on the big screen, so that's fantastic feedback, and I do have a lot of people now waiting for the next one to come out, which is really exciting.
Well, that's amazing. Before we get into the next one that's coming out, so what made you want to write this book?
I've always loved reading and writing, and I've always wanted to be a writer. And I just never thought that I would have the ability to actually complete a book that I could be proud of. And because I've never been particularly confident, I didn't try to. And then when I had the story idea for this, I just decided to just go with it. And then eventually, it was intentionally, I was going to just keep it to myself, but then I
Mm,
decided to release it. Just simply to just gain a bit of confidence, because it was something that I'd always wanted to do. And the only thing that would really stop me was, thinking that I was going to fall on my face doing it.
mm. We'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later in the show, but it's interesting because a lot of people have written stuff just for themselves, right? They've written it for themselves, and then all of a sudden, they get something in them that says, "Go ahead and release it," to the world. So you said you've been writing and brainstorming and doing things for such a very long time. Where does that date back to? When did you first start writing?
I first started writing various different things, because I don't just write stories. I write different things. So I think the first thing I actually wrote was a poem. I entered a poetry contest when I was at school. I must have been about 7,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the first thing I can remember sitting down and poring over for ages to get it right. Yeah, so it started off with sort of poetry, and it only later sort of turned into shorter stories and then longer ones.
Okay. Oh, and another thing that I forgot to touch base on. I love music. So you write, you're a musician and you write as well.
Yeah, I haven't written any music per se. I've got a bunch of lyrics on my website. I don't have much songwriting experience. I have had piano lessons and singing lessons and drum lessons, and
Mm-hmm.
I've also bought a guitar and been teaching myself how to play. So I've got some basic sort of musical skills, and I can make an awful lot of noise.
I know you
But
said that, but once you learn the piano, you're already on your way. And learning the guitar, you got the drums. Like, I think you might be a little bit better than what you are leading us to believe. I mean, if you're an artist, I will listen. I don't know, but I've been told that if you are an artist, learning the piano is just very beneficial for you because then from there, it makes learning other instruments that much more easier.
It does actually, and I did notice that when I started playing guitar, that there were bits in playing guitar that I already understood from both the piano and the drums. Actually, so you are correct. The more you sort of immerse yourself in an area such as music, the natural you sort of become at it. I think that's what's frustrated me the most, is because I had all these lessons when I was younger and then stopped playing because I wasn't that confident to then pick them up. I've lost all these sort of automatic skills that I had previously.
So, do you see yourself potentially putting out any music in the future?
Well, I've written some lyrics for a musician who is currently turning that into a song, so that will be out soon, which is quite exciting, because then I can actually say that I'm a lyricist. And
Mm.
with
Hmm.
regards to the lyrics that I've got on my website, I would love to start trying to put some of those songs to the lyrics. I've got a good idea as to how some of them sound, but because I'll be learning as I go, I know that that will take a lot of time. And obviously, being a single mom of 3, having my own content writing company, and also writing a book doesn't leave much time to sit there and pore over music.
Hmm. You know, as I'm sitting here listening to you, your voice is just very soothing. I've always have I love speaking to people from other countries because I think that the accents are just amazing to me. Now, I'm sure that I probably sound like I have an accent, right?
Yes, you do.
And for some reason people love the American accent, and we don't know because that's all we know, vice versa. But you have a very good speaking voice. I think it's amazing.
Oh, thank you so much.
So, in your lovely voice, if you could please let us know where we can follow you at, where we can get your book from, and all of that great stuff.
Yes, my book will be available on Amazon by the end of September at the very latest. So I'm hoping that will be available in the next 2 weeks. You can follow me on Instagram, which is just Lisa Thomas Author. You can follow me on Twitter, which is Lisa Thomas Books. You can go to my website, which is lisathomasauthor.com, and from there, that will give you all my other links, including my link tree, which will take you to absolutely every page, so you can stalk me as much as you
I like that. Well, actually, you better be very
like.
careful because there are some stalkers out there. Trust and believe. You don't want people stalking you. It gets a little weird and creepy.
Yeah.
I had my first experience with a stalker this week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was interesting.
Oh,
Left
I'm glad you survived.
left me a nice little voicemail.
Oh,
Well,
I dread to think. I'm not going to ask anymore.
I contemplated on playing it on air, but I was like, no, because that might just give the person more hold to continue to do it. So I was like, nah,
Oh, yes.
yeah, I was like, nah, we ain't
No,
gonna
if
do it.
they get the attention, then they'll definitely keep doing it just to continue getting the attention, if nothing else.
It's one thing if you know who's doing it, but when you don't know who's doing it, that's when it gets a little weird and creepy. So
Yeah.
don't wish any people to stalk you. It's not good.
But they can stalk me from afar, from a distance.
So now we have the first book, and when can we
Hmm.
anticipate the second book?
I'm hoping that will be at the start of next year. It was going to be at the end of this year, but Christmas isn't the best time to release a new book. And the new year is a better time, and that will give me a bit more time to just refine it, fine tune it, because this second book has taken up a lot more time in terms of research, because I'm not a natural scientist and I'm trying to write from the position of the scientists at the WHO.
Hmm.
So I'm hoping by the end of this year it will all be done and dusted, and I can sort of upload it at the very start of January.
One good thing about it is that after you get through your first book, I know you said you had some, feedback as far as editing and stuff like that. You definitely do learn a lot. So the mistakes that you made during the first one, which half of the mistakes that you made, we don't even know that it's a mistake. Only you really know it's a mistake. But it definitely helps you, shape you towards, future releases. So I think you'll be fine.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. You'll do just fine. So, do we have a total? A total? Do we have a title of what the new book will be, or is that too much information being released so far?
Um, No, I was thinking of calling it an alternative history, because that's what people who have read this book have said, that is actually the story that I've written is something that could have happened, and that's why it's so scary. Is because actually this virus could have got out of control and it could have been difficult to sort of handle. So I was thinking of calling it an alternative history, but now I'm toying with the idea of using that as the series title. So having each book, and then that the entire series itself would be an alternative history. And if that's the case, then I've got no idea what the next one's going to be called.
And
I'm open to suggestions.
I got a suggestion. It might not be nice, but uh, I spoke about when somebody does something or has said something that has shocked the hell out of you. How about you just call it when all hell breaks loose? Because that's basically what happened. Or
Yeah, it's fairly accurate too.
you got some titles, you know, hell on earth. How about that? Because we still,
That's a good one.
we still dealing with some of these aftermaths of this stuff here, and
Hmm.
I'm not gonna get into it, but I have a very strong feeling that we haven't seen anything yet. We have not seen anything yet. That's what I have to say, and we gonna
Mm.
leave it at that because I think that next year, I think the tail end of this year, maybe like November, December, and then definitely going into the new year. Everybody better buckle up their seatbelts, hold tight, and make sure that they don't forget the things that we've been through because we getting ready to go through it again. That's just my prediction, and I don't know. I'm not a psychic and don't claim to be, but it's just an internal feeling that I have.
Mm. It doesn't feel like the world is settled. Far
Oh
from it,
no,
in
and
fact.
it'll be quiet for a minute, and that's what happens. It gets quiet, and you have to always be on guard and stay on point because you never know what's going to happen, and that's just life in general. You have to be prepared for what's ever getting ready to come down the pike because something's coming. We just don't know when.
I hope it's not a zombie apocalypse because I watched World War Z not long ago and I don't think I'd last very long.
I have not got into any of that, but I've heard the stories behind it, and I heard about it being on, an important official website as far as what to do during one of those things. That does not sit well with me at all. Because of that fact that information is out there, like some real life stuff like this could potentially happen, somebody is somewhere playing with something and experimenting something. The union's just not going to have that on there for no good reason.
I think I should just buy a yacht and sail away now.
Hmm. Somebody got that stuff out there. Shar, what's going on? Thank you so much for joining Soul Shine Sessions. I see you out there. Thank you. So now I'm sipping on prosecco tonight. When I know it's like 1, 2 in the morning there now. What do
Hmm.
you drink when you do engage in a social drink? When it comes to wine,
Oh, it depends. I do like a nice gin with either tonic or lemonade. That's my go-to drink. I do also love to have a few cocktails with the girls, and of course, on a hot day, there's nothing more refreshing than a cider with some nice ice.
a cider. So like, what would that consist of? What's it
I
like?
like pear cider. It's delicious, I think.
That's a UK drink. That's a specific drink from the UK.
No, I think you can get it all over.
Okay. I mean, I know that the drinks are a little bit different. I experienced some drinks in France, but I can't even tell you what they are. I think I took a picture. I think I
Mm.
took a picture so I could remember. But um, before we get into the burning questions, I want to talk about the food there. So, someone visiting for the first time, what's like a go-to food that you would recommend someone try for the first time?
Oh, that's tricky because if someone was visiting the UK for the first time,
Hmm.
then I would feel obliged to send them the more traditional English route, which isn't my favourite food. So if it was up to me, I'd send them to the best curry house. Oh no, actually, where I would send them is there's an all you can eat place that does Indian
Mm.
food, Chinese food,
Ooh.
English food, and they have live stations, so they cook noodles fresh. They
Mm.
do fresh lamb tikka chops. They cook fresh pizzas. There's a pizza station and a pasta station. So you can literally go in there and eat your entire body weight.
Mm.
They've got about 18 different types of desserts. It's the best.
you
So
know,
that's where I would take them.
it's funny that you say that. Um, I've been told that the UK is like a big melting pot. Like there is no such thing as like a traditional. You're gonna get foods from all type of places. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I mean, there are some traditional British things that you can expect, such as fish and chips. And we have every Sunday. We have a roast dinner, so we will have what I imagine is like a Thanksgiving meal. So I'll do meat, potatoes, roast vegetables, massive spread. And this is every Sunday. And then when I tell people from other countries about that, they're like, oh, that's just like a special occasion over where we're from. But I have that at least once, if not twice a week here.
Hmm. Now, one thing that I want to say about the food, and we'll move on to burning questions, is my friend from Belgium, Danny. Shout out to Danny out there, Danny Lopez. He told me that about fish and chips. You spoke about fish and chips, but one thing is very
Mm-hmm.
interesting that I really have not been a fan of. And when he told me about it, I wasn't a fan of it when we were talking about it on the show. And then when I saw it in real life, I really didn't appreciate it. And that is, why do they serve food on newspaper?
I think it's because the paper itself absorbs some of the grease out of the chips. So we don't actually eat it out of newspaper. What will most likely happen is they'll have plain normal paper on the inside, and then the outer side will be newspaper just to keep the heat in a little bit.
You know what I have to tell you about that?
But mhm.
Absolutely not. That is not what I experienced. The food was laid right on top of newspaper.
Oh really?
and but one thing that I'm thankful for is that the newspaper that you all have there is nothing like our newspaper here in the US. The newspaper here in the US is very messy. You can like rub your hand against it with just a little bit of moisture and you're going to get the ink all over your hand. So when I was thinking of food on newspaper, I was thinking, "Oh, that's not good cuz the ink's going to come off." But it's something that was just in my mind, no, but your newspaper is definitely different, and I did not feel that the ink was running off, but it was just weird seeing like the daily print while you're eating your foods on top of it. So
It's good though because you can keep up the news with the news and be unhealthy at the same time.
if you say so. What's going on, D Live family out there? Who do we have out here? We have Can for KT. Hopefully, I got that right. What's going on? How are you doing? Thank you so much. If you're still out there listening, drop it in the comments and let us know where you are calling from tonight. We have author Lisa Thomas calling all the way from the UK, speaking about her new book that she has out, Unprecedented Times. And right now, we're getting ready to get into Burning Questions. So, Burning Questions is a segment in the show where I basically flip it and put my guest in a hot seat. And we're going to ask some questions that basically has nothing to do with unprecedented times. Hopefully, we'll see. And we'll see exactly, where we come out on the other end. If you're out there listening, I want to say thank you so much for listening. And please go ahead and drop your comments as well and let us know how you feel about this burning question. Burning questions. How has the spirit of doubt affected your life?
Mm. So, as I've said, I've never particularly been that confident, and I've never enjoyed sort of things like the sound of my own voice, singing, things like that. I've never particularly enjoyed listening to that back,
Mm-hmm.
and because of that, I have always had that doubt in my mind as to whether I'm good enough to be an author or to be a musician or even to just put myself out there. And because of that, I actually did stop music entirely when I was 18. I just stopped playing. And then everything I wrote thereafter, I sort of just kept to myself. And it was only until recently, actually, my oldest daughter said that she wanted to be a singer. And then she asked me if it was something that I would do. And I said, no, I don't think that I'm as brave as you. And that's when she sort of thought about it for a while, and she turned around to me and said, actually, I don't think I'm brave enough either. And I sort of realised that actually my doubting myself was rubbing off on her.
Mm-hmm.
That made her doubt herself, and then she didn't have the confidence to sort of pursue her goals. And that's actually what started
Yeah.
the music, in terms of the YouTube channel and stuff that I've put up. It was literally a case of I just wanted to show her that actually, if you, it's okay to doubt yourself, but you need to have faith in yourself, and you need to know that actually the only limitations you have are the ones that you put on yourself because of that doubt. And if you take that out of the equation, you can achieve so much more than you ever thought was possible. So it has had a massive impact on my life, especially since I've had children, because I don't want them to have any sort of doubt in themselves. I want them to have that confidence to pursue their goals.
Mm. Ladies and gentlemen, reading between the wines is over. We have something in common. We definitely do. Just as you sat here and you spoke and shared your story about having doubt, and it ended up passing on through your child, um, I have that same type of experience. And I realized that, once my children started to get older, and that's one of the reasons why I do the 411 podcast here, because I'm a very shy person. People think that, I'm this very outgoing person, and, I'm always what you all see here today. And that's not the case. In order for me to be the person that I am here today, I had to push myself and do this because I realized that if I'm scared, then my children are scared. If I have fear, then my children have fear. It's going to be passed down um, to another generation. So I have to break the cycle, and I have to stop it, and I have to be a leader and example and show them that yes, I can do it. And long story short, I was able to press play and do the 411 podcast, reading between the wines, and then be able to interact with my child and ask her feedback. What does she think about it? And to see the reaction and the comments behind it, that was the stamp of approval that, okay, this is the reason why you need to continue to do it. Number one, because you are helping change the dynamic of whatever was already put out there based on my own fear and doubt. But then as I continue to keep speaking and talking and interacting with people from all over the world, I'm speaking to you right now from the UK, which is absolutely amazing. We've been to places such as India, Korea, the list goes on, Iran, the list goes on and on and on. Those are small little, you know, things that push me forward to say, you are doing what you should be doing. And while I'm doing that, it's helping me break out of the spirit of fear, the spirit of doubt, the spirit of you can't do it, uh, you know, you're not good enough, all of those simple things that we all play in our minds. And a weird thing about it is that nobody else feels that about you more than you feel about yourself.
Hmm. Yeah. But what I love about it is when you do change the dynamics, and when you do start leading by example, and you show your children that, they become your biggest cheerleaders. I mean, my children think that I'm like some sort of rock star, and I'm just not. I've got something like 50 or 60 subscribers on YouTube, but to them, that is just immense, and it's amazing to see how excited they are by us pushing ourselves out of that comfort zone.
It's so funny that you said that. I remember one of my mentors. She was one of my bosses back in the day, but she was not a normal boss. This woman actually cared about me. And she told me that, Laren, you have no idea. Just by you walking through the front door of this building here, the minute that you turn the key and walk in, you're on stage. And she's like, and you may not see it, but there is somebody out there that is looking up to you like you are a superstar, you're a rock star. That was like one of the best things that she could have told me, because that little inner child in me that wanted to be that rock star and that superstar on stage, I took it and I ran with it. And it was that burning passion that I had back then that now it's pouring out here. And, of course, everybody can see it here now. But I never forgot that she told me that there's somebody out there that is looking up to you as if you were a rock star. And every now and then throughout the years, there were people who would come to me and break down and cry and share their experience. And I was able to, share my experiences with them too. And now that that's all past me and behind me, I think about my children. And even though they may not say what they want to say, because they might be just as shy as I am, I get it. But they're my number one fans, and I continue to do things for them and to keep all of this stuff going for them. And I write my books and everything for them and for my legacy and my grandchildren and my grandchildren's children, once that whole process gets. But we got a long time. If you out there listening, we got a long, 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 long time before any of that stuff ever happens. And I don't think that I said that we got a very long time. And in case you're not listening, we got a very long time before any of that happens. But yeah, so I get it. That's exactly why I continue to push myself and do what I do, because it's bigger than me. This is not just for me. This is a whole big old situation here that we got going on.
Mhm.
Well, who knew that this burning question here would have taken us here tonight? But again, there was more magic that was in here. Lisa, thank you so much for coming on. Again, I feel like I always just meet these great friends here on the show. And if I ever happen to step foot in the UK, I definitely would love to hang out with you because you have this great energy behind you. And I
Oh, that
appreciate
would be
you.
fantastic. Yes, come to Birmingham.
I don't know when, but I had some invitations. I'm supposed to visit Sophie Davis eventually in the future. I got an invitation to Belgium. I got an invitation to Germany. So who knows? Put it in God's powerful hands, and we'll see exactly what happens. But thank you for coming on. Good luck with the
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Good luck with the release of the second book. And of course, we definitely want to see you come back here on Reading Between the Wines and let us know all about the new release once it's here. And we'll stay connected, and good luck with it all.
Thank you ever so much for having me. It's been absolutely lovely to speak to you today. And I
Thank you.
would love to come back with my second book.
Absolutely. All right, we'll talk to you soon. And are you going to go to sleep now? Because it's like 2 a.m., right?
Yeah, it's 2 a.m. and I've got a 2-year-old who will get me up at 6 a.m. in the morning. So I'm going to try and get some sleep now.
Okay, you go ahead. Enjoy. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you for having me.
Good night.
You take care. Bye bye.
Bye. All right, y'all. There you go. There you have it. Another amazing experience here tonight. I had no idea that our conversation was even going to get to that level. I am sipping on Menage a Trois Prosecco. Author Lisa Thomas came in the building tonight. We are feeling great off of this wine here right now, sparkling wine. I'll tell you that I had to be very careful as far as how I was sipping this. I was sipping it a little too much, and I want to get out here and start burping and carrying on because that was going to be the next step if I had kept on doing it. So I started to slow down a little bit. But I think we are halfway through this bottle here tonight. You can't see because it's dark, but we got halfway through it because I had to like pace myself. I didn't want to be out here talking and do some crazy stuff. But Chris, thank you so much. I see you out there on Instagram. Thank you for joining. All of you out there, if you're on Facebook, I appreciate you. Please like, comment, share. Check out the experience on YouTube at Laren Gaines, and please subscribe. And on that note, I want to say thank you so much to each and every one of you out there for supporting Reading Between the Wines 4-in-1 podcast. Again, cheers. We have made it, another year, and we got great things coming up in the future. I just can't wait to, share everything with you all tomorrow. If you want some healing and you want to get into some real deep conversation and listen some out of this world supernatural type of conversations, come back tomorrow at 10 p.m. My guest tomorrow, her and I are going to connect on such a, a mystical level, if I could say it that way, on such a mystical level. So for the spiritual people out there that want to learn something tomorrow, tap in, check me out here, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the 411 podcast. I can't say anymore. So for those of you out there who like to support Reading Between the Wines and the 411 podcast, please go ahead and click that link above all of my social media platforms and go inside of Volume 1.5 Deliberation Remix Journal. All of the conversations that we had tonight, I chalk it up to nothing but growth. I chalk it up to nothing but experience. I chalk it up nothing but this is just my life, and this is the path that I have been chosen to go down. And I'm just sharing just a little bit. You know, I'm not out here to sit here and act like I'm an expert. I only been doing this for 2 years, but in this process, I have learned a little bit about myself, and I think I have enough experience and I dealt with enough people to learn a little bit about life. So I'm sharing a little bit about my past. I'm telling you where I'm right here, right now, in my present moment, and were we right here in our present moment, we ain't cool with it. I'm not saying that it's bad, but I'm not cool just sitting in it. So I'm writing some good positive affirmations about where we're going. And I leave it up to you to do it as well because this is a remix journal. So I got some lines in this journal here for you to go ahead and write some positive affirmations about what you feel is going on in your world. And that's one thing that I learned. One of my good friends told me, I live in my own world. And it is so true, and I never thought about it that way. What you got going on should not affect me. What I got going on in my world shouldn't affect you. And that's the premises behind living in your own world. When you were in your own world and so in your own world that whatever the outside forces got going on or whatever somebody's doing on the other side has nothing to do with you and it doesn't affect you. When you don't get hung up over other people's BS and the things that they got going on in their world and it doesn't affect your world and you still living and being the true being that you know you are and are capable of being, and you still flying high and you don't let anybody tear you down and take away your energy, that's how you know you are truly living in your own world. And each and every day, I have to continue to push myself to stay in my own world because we can get slipped up and tripped up just as easy as the next because this is life and it's a game. It's tricky. You get past this level, the next level is going to have new devils. And there's going to have more stumps and more tricks. And this one's going to be dressed up a little bit better. This one's going to tell you a little bit of something that you want to hear and you always wanted to hear. And you've been waiting for it and wishing on it and thinking from a child. You know, all of that stuff. We all get it. Anyway, I become this person by getting little tools and educating myself and getting in tune with myself and connecting with my higher power. And with that being said, I have to give very special thank you to my executive producer, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, for allowing me to have the confidence, the wisdom, the knowledge to be able to continue to do every single thing that I do here today and have my life preserved and saved to continue to do so. And on that note, I'll see you all tomorrow, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 411 Podcast. Very special thank you to my guest, Lisa. What a wonderful conversation tonight. I had no idea that we would even take it there and just experience this tonight. It was a wonderful experience tonight. And on that note, this good Prosecco definitely has made the evening a heck of a lot lighter tonight. Y'all go ahead and check this out. It's definitely good. I recommend it. I'll see y'all tomorrow, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Take care, y'all. Thanks.